I think that the years where Francis really solidifies his legacy is what he does for the future of the sport and the new generations coming through. You can't judge a fighter in the gym, right? I've sparred with so many guys in the gym that have beat the hell out of me in the gym that couldn't beat me in a cage on the night. I feel like this may well be his coming out party this weekend. In 12 months' time, we might be talking about him as the best guy on the planet. I was obviously disappointed for Francis. I ultimately wasn't surprised, an elite level boxer like Anthony Joshua should be able to do that to most fighters, And the thing is with Francis, I think he had a lot of confidence coming out of the Tyson Fury fight, and I think that was an unrealistic confidence given that I don't think Tyson was in great condition for that fight, and I think Francis, it was a perfect storm for him. He had a great performance that night. Fury didn't look fantastic, and then at the same time, AJ's got the privilege, the opportunity to watch Francis and see ways inside his game from the Fury fight, and it just didn't work out well for him on the night. It's one of those things. Anthony Joshua set it up perfectly. It was a beautiful right hand, and not many people would have been able to stand up from that. I think he knows how he feels going into training camp, right? I think, I've been knocked out a couple of times myself, once in fights, once in training, and you do know when you're not feeling 100%. And you're not going to put yourself in any circumstances like he's putting himself in this weekend against Renan Ferreira, a guy that's incredibly dangerous. He knows he needs to be ready because not only is his current status in the sport on the line, but his decision to move over from one promotion to another. There's still a lot of questions around that, so that weight's still on his shoulders, and I think he's carrying that pressure, and I think he knows he needs to prove himself. So he's not going to get into a fight where he's not fully recovered and prepared. And I think we're going to see the best Francis yet. I think ultimately the performances that he had in boxing, particularly the one against Tyson Fury, I think it validated his decision. Even if he'd have vacated his title and gone and done 2 boxing matches and then disappeared into obscurity, you can't tell him that it was the wrong decision because of the amount of money that he made off it. Ultimately we're prize fighters, and he needs to make as much money as he can to support his family. So no one can tell him it was the wrong decision because of the amount of financial compensation that came his way. But at the same time, this is his return to MMA. This is really where the decision's going to be criticised if it was the wrong one, because this is him back in the small gloves, back in a cage. And if he goes in there and he has a terrible performance and loses to Renan, then the MMA community, they might not see that as a good decision that he made a couple of years ago. So I do feel like he's carrying that weight on his shoulders, and I do feel like he knows that going into this weekend. I think, honestly, Francis Ngannou's legacy is going to extend way past his competitive years anyway. I think that the years where Francis really solidifies his legacy is what he does for the future of the sport and the new generations coming through. You can't judge a fighter in the gym, right? I've sparred with so many guys in the gym that have beat the hell out of me in the gym that couldn't beat me in a cage on the night. Renan Ferreira is 6'8". Who is he opening up on in a sparring session, right? He's not going to be throwing knockout punches or kicks. He's not going to be going 100% on his takedown defense. Tom's playing the heavyweight game and the trash talking game. He's doing the right thing, but ultimately you just can't judge somebody from a performance in a gym, right? What you see from Renan Ferreira in the cage is really what you have to judge. 40 seconds against Ryan Bader, not many people can do that. If he has a good performance this weekend against Ngannou, that's going to speak volumes about his capability. I honestly feel like he is one of the most formidable heavyweights on the planet right now. And I would put Renan in against any of the 3 top UFC heavyweights right now. Like November 16th, you've got Jones versus Stipe. I think he beats both of them. And I think Tom Aspinall being the toughest test, I still think he has a really good chance against him as well. That's more of a 50-50 fight. But I feel like Renan and Tom have both got their future in front of them. Their peak in front of them, whereas the other heavyweights we're talking about, Jones and Stipe, I feel like they're past their prime now. So these are the heavyweights that we need to be focusing on. Renan right now has got a tough test in front of him, but he's still got a long career ahead of him, and so is Tom Aspinall. So that's going to be the conversation going into 2025, I think, is Aspinall versus Ferreira. I think the conversation is between Renan Ferreira and Tom Aspinall. Tom is a fast, mobile, agile heavyweight, very, very well-rounded. He's still very small compared to Renan Ferreira, though, right? He still looks like a light heavyweight compared to Renan Ferreira. And that's a problem that sometimes you don't have the skills to solve those kind of problems. I don't even know whether Francis Ngannou's got the skills to solve the Renan Ferreira problem. He is a big, powerful individual, can move at speed like nobody else in the heavyweight division. And I feel like this may well be his coming out party this weekend. In 12 months' time, we might be talking about him as the best guy on the planet.
Battle of the Giants, ladies and gentlemen. October 19th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Eu me sinto muito confiante. Tenho desenvolvido muito nos últimos anos.
Problema with the championship!
I'm the guy to beat. No question about it. I'm the money maker.
My goal right now is not just about like being back in MMA, it's being back in what I love. I always have a purpose, I always look for the reason why I'm doing. I didn't have a chance to fight for my son, man, so I think this is it.
Espero que ele esteja bem preparado, que eu vou estar bem treinado aí para essa luta. Com certeza, quem colocar a mão primeiro, o outro vai dormir.
I have a problem, but every problem has a solution.